When it's up, then it's up. But I'm here with my favorite co-host, Lana, MoodE, filling in for the wordsmith is our guy, Jay. Jay, say what's up to the public, man.
How's it going, fam?
We're dropping these bombs today. It's exciting. We are in the gallery chilling. How was your weekend, MoodE?
It was really good. It was a really good chill weekend. Nothing too crazy. So, you know.
Okay.
How about you guys?
My weekend was pretty chill. I had a toy drive that I took my kids to, the Black Ecosystem. Shout out to them. And we gave away toys at the Harold Washington Cultural Center. Wow. So it was fun. It was fun.
And we broadcasting from Chicago, Atlanta area here in Bolingbrook. I mean, we're live at the gallery. Man, my week was nice. Preparing for the shows, preparing for the events that we have coming up. The comedy events with T. Murph. I'm excited about it. I mean, I've been kind of hunting him down, man. He's one of the funniest comedians to me. Like coming out of Chicago, man, you got a little rail, but I mean, dude he a beast. So, I mean, I don't know, man. We got a lot of stuff to cover in this first segment,
Okay.
It's holiday season.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like
we have a lot going on at the gallery. We've got a lot of exciting events.
This holiday season, are you prepared to do something, MoodE? Or you just chilling?
I'll be here. I'll be here for some of the events. There's an art exhibit. There's a comedy event with T. Murph. There's.
What are you like other than just the events at the gallery? Like, what are you gonna be?
I think the holiday seasons for me are more about quality time with people and appreciating each other. I guess a little extra, but I like to do those things anyways. That's just me. But
awesome.
I just like to kind of stay chill for the holidays and just be humble, and thankful. So that's what I'm on.
I'm disrespectful for the holidays.
I
ain't gonna even lie. I'm disrespectful. To me, I treat the holidays like gas stations do.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna be open. You know what I'm saying? I'm still talking about doing some type of commerce. You know what I mean? I really don't see much change. I really do, man. I treat the holidays like gas stations. Like you're gonna have to get some gas anyway, so you're gonna have to get up and there's all the normal parts of stuff. But other than that, there's events that happen, transitions like we were talking about the unfortunate situation for that gentleman who was a truck driver, or he was driving a truck and his brakes went out. You heard about that. You were bringing that up.
He got 110 years. He got sentenced 110 years for manslaughter because his brakes were on his truck that he drove for his company. This was a company truck, mind you. Like the brakes completely failed, and he got 110 years. And the question is, or what's happening is, people are bringing up older cases from other people. He was Hispanic, of other people who are, of a different.
So you're saying some white people and some other people never got maybe the penalties, and I don't really know much about it. It's
questioning, why did he get 110 years for something that completely was not his fault? And in all these other cases, the thing is that what's considered is the fact that he killed 4 people. That's typically weighed in as some type of punishment when they do sentence people in previous cases. But for some reason in this case, that wasn't a consideration, that he already has to deal with the fact that he killed 4 people. And then on top of that, you're going to give him 110 years for something that was completely not his fault. But other people who have killed people driving drunk, or just in other cases of quote unquote manslaughter, they got 4 years, 5 years where people legit died. So it's
shout out to the
families.
Shout out to the families that were that lost their loved ones.
Yeah.
And our condolences to the families, and it's just that part of that that time of year where we just kind of we don't get too deep, but we here at Fibonacci, we like to still stay connected to what is happening in our world. We do talk about our concrete topics, things like that, but we do like to give a moment to recognize other people suffering, to recognize just in general what's going on. It's different things going on, different interests that happen outside of art or expression. I think that was a rough one when you guys told me that. I was talking to you guys about the gentleman that killed himself, killed his ex-wife, or killed his baby mama. You know what I mean? That happened recently that I saw aired. So I thought that was another disturbing time. So I kind of sometimes I think I equate the holidays to depressionary times of the period.
Well, I mean, this is typically where like the most suicides do happen. Like this is a proven fact. Depression does increase, even like prescription-wise for depression medication. Like this is a time where everyone does get super, because it's so based around
anxiety.
Well, yeah, because people are so, like you said, spending that quality time. Well, then when people reflect, they always think of, well, not always, but it's not hard to think about who's not here. And then if you're the type of person that will just get fixated on who's not here, you can see where that can lead when everything around you is see your family, spend time with your family, well, if your family's not. You know, like, so.
And I think that's why it's important to just, like, how we bring up the topics to be more aware and just, you know, kind of spread that, you know, thankfulness of just being, you know, of the smaller things, I guess. You know what I mean? And the fact that we can be here and do whatever we want.
Yeah,
so,
we're grateful.
You know?
Jay, what's popping, man? How was your week, man? Did you?
My week, come on, man.
Come on, man. Talk to us, Jay, man. Let a clip off, man. I mean, how was the fitness? How was your fitness game going this week? I know y'all can clearly tell that Jay get down. This is the new Magic Mike.
That's
This is the new Magic Mike 2.0.
3.0.
You know, 3.0. 8-pack, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
But what's happening though?
Man, fitness has been really good. Honestly, highlighted this week is just right now. Happy to be here, blessed to be here. To transition a little bit, I was thinking about what you guys were just talking about. I think seasonal affectiveness disorder is SAD. It's called SAD. Is also a big topic on why people get depressed this time of year. If you guys haven't heard of that, I would suggest looking into it. But man, we're not here to be sad today. I am happy today. I'm blessed to be here.
Yes, sir.
So we got,
and you're gonna have to hit us with the
word of the week.
Word of the week, man.
We got manhood. All right, Webster's dictionary classifies manhood as the state or period of being a man rather than a child. One would think that's common sense, as I'm sure you'll find on today's show. Common sense isn't always so common.
And
we also got the topic, the boy crisis, which I believe is a book. Isn't that right, Alchemis?
Yeah, that's a book. Yep. A book written by Warren Farrell. We took the word of manhood and we decided to incorporate it with someone that gives a very in-depth point of view about manhood, gives statistical points on the crisis in manhood and how it affects our community, all parts of our society. And I think I'm intrigued on it because it's described as a crisis.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think, because there are other, and make no mistake about it, there are several authors out there. There are several authors that cover this topic. That covers the topic of being a man. That covers the topic of in relationships or people's different positions that they play or roles that's played or what's expected from you in our society as a young male or a young person that's being responsible in a male category, as well as womanhood, but we're talking about manhood today. So we do have those factors, that those standards of manhood from womanhood to manhood. But I thought this was unique because we always have these things screaming out in our society, especially the black community. The black community has been screaming out. Women have been talking about, ain't no good men or be a real man. In retrospect, that has been discussed. Not to devalue the fact that there are good men out there and there are men out there, but we're just talking about what has stained us the most is the deficiency or how we view the black male in our society. So what I liked about the book from Warren Farrell is he went past those borders.
Okay.
He went past it being a situation where black families are just stricken with the lack of a male in the home or in the nucleus. I like that he said, well, you know what? It's called a crisis now. The crisis means that it has now germinated, has now permeated into our society. I think that that it really brought more awareness. The way he described the approach in the boy crisis, the way he kind of included, and we'll get into this, but I thought it was interesting. Did you do any investigations, or did you think about the
I definitely thought
concept
about
of manhood?
it. I definitely thought about it, and I thought about it. It made me question. Okay, growing up, what was my idea? What characteristics that I believe represented manhood? And for me, when I thought about it, now that I'm older, they were all very superficial. A provider, right? But in reality, we're just talking about providing, money in exchange for just whatever, a comfortable lifestyle. And then I thought about security. I thought about, maybe that alpha, like that alpha male, always the team leader. But I feel like the way the society is today, there's a woman that can have those very same qualities. A woman can be the provider. With the technology provided, a woman can have her own security. And a woman can also be a leader in these rooms. So for me, I was one of those that started questioning, well, what type of men are in my generation? And then I started realizing, well, it's not that I don't have quality men in my generation or that there isn't quality men out here. I was focusing on the wrong things, and then I had to define what I believed manhood represented.
Okay. So I got a question. What is? Because I got to get back. I got something for that.
I saw your foot twitching a little bit.
No. Lana did. She dead ass there, but I like how she's describing it because there's some filler that has to be had. You know what I'm saying? Because I like the part where she said, "Well, I had to come up."
Right.
So that's why I was like, okay, well, we're gonna have to revisit. I want to revisit that point, but I want to know, MoodE, what have you done on any research at all? Because we know how MoodE get. MoodE would come in here and she'd be like Basquiat. By the way, guys, that's MoodE's piece right there. That's a nice art piece right there. And we ain't gonna get into your expression of your piece, but we wanna know, what is your interpretation of manhood? We got the definition from Jay.
Okay.
Jay, can you give it to us one more time?
Yeah, run it back one more time. Is it
another one other than that one? Is there another, maybe some Wikipedia? While you researching, MoodE? While we researching, what do you think about Lana's comment?
It's interesting because I agree with what she's saying. I see her point, and I think that her opinion is also valid because of whatever personal experience she's had. And I think that I can understand that. But I don't 100% agree with that. And it's really interesting because where I come from and what my history is an experience, it is essentially that. So I'm kind of like, I'm the mediator.
What don't you agree with? So what don't you agree with?
I don't agree that manhood necessarily has much to do with womanhood because I think they're two separate things.
No. If you don't mind me recapping,
right.
What she said was, if you define manhood with only the properties that she said, meaning that you still have womanhood and manhood, she's basically saying need both of those properties.
Right.
She's saying now going past that is what I believe that is where I said we'll get back because and again I'm kind of feeling you too, but she never said that just to correct, not to correct it, but just to clear up what her point was. She just said, well, if you kept it to those basic principles, like you said, womanhood and manhood could be the same. You know what I mean? And it being a woman, like she said, I could tell you what maybe womanhood is. You know what I mean? She's like, but on manhood, she picked to me some necessary attributes that you need.
But
you know
those aren't the only attributes, and that's what I'm saying.
That's what she's saying. That's why I was like, we'll get back to that because she said, well, and that's what she can only gather. So it's like from what you gathered or what you conceive, what do you believe? How do you feel manhood is? And Jay, did you
give you another definition?
Run it back for us, Jay.
Manhood, qualities traditionally associated with men, such as courage, strength, and sexual potency.
And sexual.
Right there.
Oh wow.
That was funny.
I'm gonna cover that one.
That was funny.
Okay, MoodE, we ain't letting you off the hook.
That was
Lana,
funny.
we're not letting off the hook.
Manhood.
What is your based on So
Sexual.
what, do you agree? Maybe you just agree. Do you agree with the definition? Maybe? Maybe you don't have much of an opinion about it. You might just maybe agree with the definition. I don't know.
Well, a lot was said now, so let me just retract because I was trying to get to a point. Like, I get what you're saying is that in the comparison of manhood to womanhood, there's the same qualities, right? There's necessary qualities that we both share.
Yes.
My point is, if we're talking about specifically manhood, which what I was saying was something, in my opinion, different, not sharing the same qualities. That is in like a Venn diagram example, you have one side, another side, and then you have that in between, right? So I think what you're talking about is
So basically,
a Venn diagram is the two circles,
and then
and they have one side,
yeah.
it's the one side, and then it's the other side, and they
gotcha.
mix the same things. So I think in my perspective is I'm coming from a certain perspective of what I think manhood is, and it's not necessarily sharing the same qualities completely, like how she said, completely of it. So I agree, but I guess we'll just have to discuss it to find out.
My question then, we can move on, but I just have to probe a little bit. So we realize that there's more interpreted about manhood. We realize that there's more going forward with understanding more attributes. So can you give us maybe a guess or maybe an experience of an attribute outside the basic ones that you, meaning outside the basic premises of being leadership, outside the basic principles of having masculinity?
I would say sacrifice is a word that comes to mind. I would say that manhood can be defined by their ability to sacrifice for what they need rather than what they want, which is also something, again, like a woman can have as well. I'm not saying that, we ain't strong, on popping, can do bad by ourselves. I'm not saying none of that. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, which also is kind of more on the traditional aspect of things, even for like a younger person, I think that sacrifice is a word that comes to mind. Another word that comes to mind is, I don't want to say wisdom, because I think that we all got to be wise. I don't want to say wisdom, but I think there's a word I'm searching for that kind of defines the way that men compartmentalize things as far as priority.
Direction?
I think that's too vague of a word, but somewhere in that, if y'all understand what I'm trying to say.
Well, we're going to pick up with that in the next
segment.
We're going to pass it to Jay. Can you wrap it up for us, man, in this segment? And tell us what you think, if anybody's chiming in.
Oh, yeah. So, let's see. We have got Denzel Thomas had two really good questions.
Okay.
We're going to start with the first one. Can a woman raise a boy to a man?
Okay.
Now, I deal with this one personally. My mom was a single mom growing up. I think that to an extent, a woman can raise a boy to become a strong man, have good attributes, good characteristics, but he's always going to be searching for that father figure. And so that's when things get risky. What is he looking to? What environment is he in? Who is he looking to for guidance?
Is that direction?
I would say direction.
So it's still so some base just by fundamentally you're still saying that even a woman being in the home and giving some attributes, there's still a direction that you're looking for. So there's still something that would be missing, is fundamentally from how you're interpreting from your personal thing. What was the second question?
Second question from the same guy, Denzel Thomas. Where does manhood start? And Aranda agrees with that. Where does manhood start? Does it start at puberty? Does it start before that when you start looking to your
starts
father?
in the home to me.
That's nice,
in the
man.
beginning.
So we'll answer some of those on the next segment. Jay, tell us about some of the product that we have coming, and we're going to get back to the next segment.
Okay. Man, you guys want to tap in? Come in here at Galleria de Arte. We've got December 30th comedy event with T Murph, 8 p.m. show and 10 p.m. show. So don't be late to either of them. I know I'm going to be there. You guys will see me there. And then December 31st, we got the event with Goat and Vine Winery and Prolifically at 8 p.m. That's the 31st December. So we got 30th, 31st. Be there, be square.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So
watching me pull up across the room. I think you like the view. You gonna make a move. I don't make this easy for you. It's not intentional. I'm not responsible. I never played a game. But if it's in my face, I don't make it easy for you. Everyone is an option. I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't fuck with me. I don't make it easy for you. I don't make it easy for you. And now's the time between you and I. Get out of your head, step into my mind. Be that easy for you. I could be that easy for you. Baby, I like to learn. How do you wanna feel? Tell me your fantasies. As you discover me, can I make this easy for you? I wanna make it easy for you. And it's not intentional. I'm not responsible. I never play the games. But if you're in my way, I don't make this easy for you. I won't be that easy for you. Everyone is an option. I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't find
So it's 3 o'clock.
Okay.
We're back.
Yes.
All right. Now this is exciting. Jay, you got it cracking in here. We had a couple of questions. The one question that we had from our audience was in regard to the third definition and the sexual potency of a male, of manhood.
Okay.
Now, I have a twofold criteria, but we're gonna stick to the script, and we're gonna start with Warren Farrell, and we're gonna stick to the boy crisis, and we're gonna go over some of the perspectives in the boy crisis in that book that he broke down. We're gonna get to the good part.
Okay.
Now, but first we want to start with the fact that the percentages, as we discussed before, we discussed 3% of
1968.
1965,
65,
3% of the white male society had males in the home. 2021 didn't have males in the home. 2021, 35.4% of white society do not have males in the home. What makes that a crisis level is because now it goes from an obvious oppressed de facto group as far as the oppressed people, and it's kind of like there's more of a crisis. So now it says, okay, well, what initiated the crisis? What started this crisis of softness and weakness and meekness of men? Well, he said to get straight to it, and many people have discussed this, and I do agree. The number one initiator of the crisis is the lack of having a male in the home. So when a man is not in the home, that's the number one trigger, or that is the nucleus of what initiates the crisis. Okay, so now we would have to discuss what will cause a man from not being in a home. Okay, then we have to talk about reasons why people will want to stay together. We start with the fact that you have a third world country, a second world country, first world, but we usually talk about third world countries and first world countries. Okay, in the third world country, you have to survive.
Right.
Okay, there's a survival for women that have to put themselves in a position and a necessary value. If you guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get
Meaning
exactly
that it's
what
not
you're
an
saying.
option, it is a survival, and it's a necessity on the economic level for you to make a decision based on the resources around, which would be men in these societies, in these communities. That's why culture is very strict, is very important, because it's based on the ethics of survival. So when you now cross the borders or cross the waters and you start talking about a first world country like America, where now it's no longer designed and programmed as a survival, it's programmed as want. So now a woman doesn't have to survive daily, a woman just has to want daily. So a woman has went from the initiated or the understanding of clarity of the resource of a male on a survival level to now our society that is built, our society is technologically sound, it's a contemporary society, it's a modern society, and this society allows individualism, which in a lot of cultures, countries, you can't survive by yourself.
No, you cannot.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have a tribe, you have to be
cannot.
part of something. Well, in this country, you can now become part of an individuality. So I think from that individuality, from that individualism, starts the ball sliding. Now, I want to first ask you guys, what do you think about the fact that the difference of I have to and I want to? How do you relate that approach to being women? MoodE, Lana, how do you relate that approach in relationships, in men, or how you view men, or how you view the necessity of a man in a relationship?
That's easy.
I have a simple kind of funny meme example that just immediately comes to my head. And it's, oh my gosh. It has to come back.
Okay.
I'll talk about that in a sec. Go.
Lana ready.
So,
Lana locked and
She
loaded.
ready.
I am locked and loaded. So, okay. As a woman, I feel like I had the opportunity to experience making decisions both out of survival and also out of want. So I feel like firsthand I can understand the difference, because when I live in my place of want, that means that.
Hold on. I don't want to get too finite. Third world country survival.
Well, you just went to the first world country and you asked me.
Then
so
you asked personally as a woman. You asked as a third world country and then first world country
so
and
what
then
are
as
we
a
saying?
woman.
No. They're both intertwined. What I'm saying
so I'm saying the same thing. I'm not going to have third world experiences, but I'm following you though.
Well, that's what that was. I'm sorry if I misinterpreted. What I'm saying is that coming from a woman, and woman looking from that perspective of manhood, if we're looking from the three polarities, like you said, it's third world, okay, first world. First world is already understood that it's not survival.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Right.
So the survival part, that's my point, is strictly
I'm
third
following
world.
you.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, I mean, I can't speak from a third world point of survival. What I'm saying is I've made decisions out of survival, so I feel like just in that experience, even though it may not be as extreme, I can still see the difference. So
I agree.
When I have made decisions in a space of want, where I was comfortable, I had enough resources that I required, what I valued was completely different as a woman. It's just being honest. Completely different. I don't have to think about money because I have money. I don't have to think about a roof over my head because I have a roof over my head. Oh, haha, I don't have to deal with your attitude because I can afford to have my own opinion. Like, there's a completely, I got a whole new set of wants now because I don't have to deal with another person's ego, this man or woman in this case. I don't have to tolerate your ego for me to survive. But I've also been in a space where
okay.
Just hear me out, because I'm not what I'm talking about. So the things that I value does not come from security, do not come from. I've learned that I can meet a person that is a leader and has money and has or this masculinity and is toxic.
Okay.
So I'm saying, but I've tolerated certain things because in that space I needed to survive.
Okay, so what's necessary right now for me to do is identify what manhood is, because my first understanding in general, just from conversations with the audience in the gallery and just conversations in general and conversations over the years and years and years. First of all, there's a misunderstanding of what manhood is.
Correct, I agree,
okay,
yes.
So when we start talking about masculinity, there's a misunderstanding. First of all, let's understand manhood and malehood. Mm-hmm. Okay? A lot of people are operating off malehood. Mm-hmm. Okay, what is malehood? Malehood is, can he pay for this?
Yeah.
Can he do what I could do for myself? Can he do that? I could do it. Can he do this? I could do it. That's malehood. Okay, manhood is something that's given to him by nature. That's something by giving to him by birthright.
I was gonna say,
okay.
I feel like that's something that's natural that comes out, but that's part of it.
Because when I think of third world country marriages, if we're talking about being married in survival, then that means that the part of me surviving is tolerating. That doesn't mean I'm getting the best person. I'm marrying to survive, to make sure my kids are good. I'm not considering who I have to deal with. Like, that's the space that I'm coming from.
And that's the space I want you to be in, because if women are really, in my opinion, if we're going to base it on that premises, if women are out there really moving to survive, then they make better choices than men. See, women are getting what they want, in my opinion. So when you're moving to survive, then like you said, a womanhood has to sacrifice. Manhood is sacrifice. So what's the sacrifice? You know what I mean? So if a person's moving strictly to get what they want, that's why I was trying to kind of separate, like, what level of survival.
I don't agree with that, because I feel like a woman can marry a money who is, if I'm in a, let's say back in the day, my hand had to be given whatever for marriage. I believe that my family will pick the suitor that has more money, or that can make the family advance in a certain way than they would the common boy. And let's say I actually wanted the common boy because I loved him and I valued him in other aspects. But if we're talking about survival, I would have been given to the person who could financially change the family situation. But who's to say this person is what I want?
Now it brings up to my point, which makes my point relevant again. Well, we're not in that country. Women are allowed to pick who they want.
Right.
Hold on. So now let's shift gears.
Okay.
Because there's no man monitoring you, because in those situations, a man is running that situation.
Correct.
So the man has the ability to see what the women don't see. That's why it's culturally like that. Now, whether you agree, like you say, you don't know about the third world country.
Right, of course.
Well, the reality is that women here don't have to be subjugated to somebody making that decision for them. Women make their own choice. So that's what I said. Now we're going to, women are making a choice based on malehood, in my opinion, not manhood. Because why? Because it first starts with understanding what manhood is. First of all, manhood is not how big your dick is. Manhood is not how many muscles that you have, how strong you have, how strong you are. Manhood is not how cocky you are.
Nope.
Manhood has nothing or little to do with those things. Those are attributes that some males carry, and those are some attributes as far as assertiveness or aggressiveness that some women carry. Okay, so now what would define manhood? Well, if you go back to the culture and the elements of time throughout all senses of history, if you watch the movie 300, if you go watch Shaka Zulu, if you go watch whatever, if you go back to the Bible even, there will always be something that a man has to initiate himself or go through some type of initiation to start identifying himself, to separate himself as a man for that tribe. A woman does not have to go through that process. A woman is going to be a woman.
Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, not
Excuse me. But something that I think you and I, Alchemist, were talking about was the arrival of that statement that you just made about what did you just say about the
Men having to be initiated.
Yes, about men having to be initiated. Yes, I think there's a lack of there in that kind of.
Yeah, so that's what goes to the
if
boy
we're
crisis.
talking about womanhood, if I were to talk about womanhood, not to get off topic, but just to make my point, if I were talking about womanhood, then I would equate that. I would equate that to the sacrifice. That's where I was coming from too.
So I mean, as far as like taking it back to the book, The Boy Crisis, to develop the ability to want to sacrifice somebody is usually initiated or taught. No one is waiting. Our world and us as human beings, we're designed to be selfish. We're designed to get our feelings hurt. If somebody want to tell us something about ourselves, we're designed to unsubscribe to you because you're talking about something that I don't want. We're designed to pick up our phone a little later or wait a couple of extra days to talk to that person that wants to reflect what we are about ourselves. We're designed to want to run from that. So what separates the men, because women are designed for their project. Women still have to have disciplines. Women, and that's what's also not, we're not going to get too sidetracked, but what I think also is missed is that women have disciplines to become a woman. It is not the same type of discipline as a man has to become a man. So the disciplines that a woman have to go through to become a woman, well, what type of disciplines? Those disciplines would relate to what she has to do to survive. Well, what would that be? It would be a resource. Well, what would that be? It would be a man.
This
you understand?
meaning
That even if you want a nucleus, that means you want to have a child with someone.
This reminds me of that like meme thing that I was gonna get into. It's like a modern day meme to be like, no, oh, we don't go for the nice guys, like, or hearing something like that. Like people ever say like, oh, guys or women don't really go for nice guys. We're like kind of left out here. Guys, like women don't want a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Because that might be the choice that you need, but it's not the choice you want. And then as far as what you said about discipline would be picking what you need and learning to survive in a way that you can take your needs and you can do what you want with them. And just to tie that kind of idea together.
So I guess how I interpreted this is I agree with let's say a pyramid. I agree with the hierarchy of a male initiate or men being initiated into manhood.
Yeah, that's
right?
just what we have to do.
No. So I agree with that. However, I believe that as women were able to gain access to information, to then be educated to make certain decisions, and then to be able to provide, I feel like what we valued as initiations before with malehood, women were going through similar experiences because in this space had to take on the responsibility to survive in said space. I'm going from a pyramid. I'm going from a pyramid standpoint. Okay, so let's say
is that because
So
definition has changed over time.
Well, I think the experiences needed to survive have changed.
So what
I'm saying is, what I think the issue is, or the discrepancy is, that I think that we say that the bar for male initiation, I feel like, is lower. And in reality, subconsciously, it's higher because women have been placed now in spaces where they're also meeting this bar too. I'm going just from a pyramid standpoint. The top of
no. You get
what I'm saying? I feel like
but you keep settling for where women are settling at.
No. I'm not settling where women. That's why I said a pyramid. What I'm saying is I'm still putting the man at top. What I'm saying is
no.
Where am I settling?
That's what I was about to ask.
Because what I'm saying is I feel like as what we see being interpreted, oh, women are this or women are that, or women saying like men aren't men enough. It's not that they're not men enough, because there's a group of men up here towards the top of this pyramid that are going through these initiations. What it is we have a conflict that you have a group of men saying that the bar is here, and then you have a group of women saying, but I'm at this bar up here. And I know that this can't be all that there is to achieving manhood down here. And the reality is, I feel like now culturally, the initiation into manhood is still above where a woman can get initiated, as far as experiences, but we're still talking about what's down here. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense, but here's the choppy part. A woman don't have no business really assessing what manhood is.
Right.
This is the issue.
Okay.
See, if a woman's over here identifying this manhood, well, a woman, that's why I said it goes back to her first being whether she was loved by a man. First of all, so let me finish we'll get back to this segment,
okay.
But I do want to finish up with the components on the next segment on the rest of the components of manhood. We talked about some of them. We talked about sacrifice. We talked about initiation, but we're not done. You know what I mean? Because there's a crisis, and the crisis is formulated because of what a man, because of the man not being in a home. So there's something missing to cause the boy crisis. So now we're going to get to, what is this person bringing? Whether he broke, whether he, or if he's not broke, or what is this person bringing? It got to be more than what meets the eye. You understand what I'm saying? It has to be.
Right.
And what I'm saying is that women have missed that. And we've been trained a certain way and programmed a certain way in our society. So in order for women to get it, they would have had to been loved by a man. Well, we know 83% of the household is broken. So we know that 83% of the women haven't had the man there to see the man, to go out now, to go find how the man look, to go have 4 babies by the man. Well, she doesn't even have that advantage. That's why he was basically saying it's become an epidemic, because it's doing like this. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how you had to know how to identify a man when your dad wasn't there, or maybe you didn't have enough opportunity to gauge the fair bar like you're breaking down.
Right.
You're like, I'm weaving through traffic to get to the real bar. By that time, it's a lot of things that done happened, and we've been damaged.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now we said at that damage point, we like, well, the damage point is, the damage point is just what happened because we all had something missing in our life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it caused the damage point.
But I know that what you're telling me is, I know this ain't the bar.
Exactly.
I know this ain't the bar. I don't have to have a man in my household to understand, I'm higher than that.
Absolutely.
I hear you, but no.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, a woman always is looking for the presence of God.
Okay.
The looking for the presence of God is part of what we're going to get back to in the next segment. Jay, talk to us.
Give you some thoughts?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. I want to go to what MoodE was talking about, right? You said nice guys finish last. That's the popular quote, or meme, as you said. I don't think nice guys finish last. I think weak guys finish last. If I'm nice and I walk up to my employer and I say, hey, I want a raise, I smile and he says no, and he starts picking at me, my smile is going to turn to a frown and I'm going to stand up for myself. I think everyone claims that they're peaceful, but I think if you're a weak man...
But is the frown nice now?
The frown is not nice.
Okay, so then you're not the nice guy anymore.
I'm always the nice guy, but I'm just not the weak guy.
Okay.
You're not willing to get pushed over. You used to have a line of principles like, I'm not coming aggressive or trying to take advantage of you, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna put my foot down.
But just to ride on what you're saying, Jay, not to interject rudely, but to me, nice is indirectional. To me, nice is doesn't have intent. So when you start talking about nice, the woman don't want nice because a woman wants direction.
Yeah,
so when you start talking about nice is just nice. Nice does not identify a character. It doesn't identify, you know what I'm saying, what your compass is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why women, don't want nice guys.
I feel
You know
like
what I'm saying? They want
even
a
as
guy
a-
whether he a jive mug or
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I've told men who are really nice, like I've told, like I would ruin you. I've said this.
Yeah.
Like I would, sweetheart, I would ruin
But I just
you.
identify the difference between nice. You know what I mean? So I just want to add to the definition of the interpretation that we have of nice, though. So based on the interpretation of nice, like mixed in with like you know, because I think sometimes we get the word nice and we hold it up a little too high.
Because I don't want to feel like I could push you. I don't want to feel like I could push you over. Like I don't want you to be aggressive, and I want you to allow me to do me, but at the same time, like I don't want to feel like I could run you either. Because in my mind, if I could run you while you're here.
I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. I interrupted you.
Nice. The term nice often kind of translates to peaceful, right? I'm going in with a smile.
Okay, got you. So you're talking about, okay.
I think everybody claims that they're peaceful, but if you're a weak man and you're incapable of great strength and great feats of destruction, you're not peaceful, you're just harmless.
No, I've seen weak men are the most destructive. Because a weak man is, a man identifies himself as being weak in comparison to other males. And I feel like a lot of times weak men in return take that frustration out on the woman. A lot of domestic relationships, the man is weak.
Trauma bonded.
He's like he's weak. And because when it comes to him to standing up against another man, not gonna happen.
That's physical weakness. I mean mental and achieving great feats.
But we'll get back to that.
Okay.
We'll get back to the next set. We'll go on this break, guys.
Yes.
Be back in 4 for show.
Let's do it.
Ruben, let me know when we.
She said that she hate me, I hate me too. I can always tell when you're lying, girl, you're see-through. All these miles away, yeah, I just wanna see you. Baby, give me good face, she hit me like seafood. Remember when I saw you, hi, it's nice to meet you. Know my old girl salty, she just wanna be you. I'm a dog, no Maltese, I don't wanna leave you. Once you're right here, I just don't wanna mistreat you, no. Cause I've been a douchebag before, baby girl, I don't wanna repeat. She just won't please me, she look in my eyes, told me why are you bleeding? And I don't even know how to answer. I take these drugs to my bladder. She says she noticed a pattern, she say I look gorgeous, I tell her I'm flattered, but I hate my reflection. When I look at you, all I see is perfection. I'm so depressed and I don't know the reason, just wanna feel better. Hate my reflection. When I look at you, all I see is perfection. I'm so depressed and I don't know the reason, just hope I feel better. Don't know the reason, just hope I feel better. I just hope I feel better. You said that you love me, don't know if it's still true. Hate it when you're not here, love it when I'm with you. You say you don't trust me, all the shit we've been through. Why you always upset? I don't really get you, I don't really get you. Why should I always gotta be so stressful? Baby, can you tell me why are you so vengeful? I don't understand you, I can't live without you, but I can't fucking stand you. I'm just so obsessed, I should take better care of myself, but fuck it. Blacked out in public, on that like she upset, but I know she loves it. I hate my reflection, when I look at you, all I see is perfection. I'm so depressed and I don't know the reason, just wanna feel better. Hate my reflection, when I look at you, all I see is perfection. I'm so depressed and I don't know the reason, just hope I feel better. Don't know the reason, just hope I feel better. I just hope I feel better. I'm a shining under city lights. All this doubt around me, then but look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I lay awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You been stuck just where you at because you never tried. Want a better life, I had a time, I bet it right. Yeah, I just took a chance and yeah, let me write. Look, I just took a chance and yeah, I rolled the dice. Yeah, women I'll be bad because the folk was nice. But yeah, I must admit that this ain't overnight. I just hit the double with the jackpot. I'm in the snow, this in New England, but I'm dying high. Now I'm addict for the music when I can't stop. Ain't gon' let me anywhere to ask me. Ask a favor with a shout out to gas me. Really, they ain't take a risk, but want the outcome. Then asking how come. I've been shining under city lights. All this doubt around me, then but look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I lay awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You been stuck just where you at because you never tried. Want a better life, I had a time.
I'm all in this. I call the shots, I never call it quits. Trust my intuition, bet it's right and bitch, it often is. Seen too many others come and go, they had the wrong intent. Do it out of love and never for it, then I watch it get bigger than expected. Don't second guess it, I let it set in. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. And I already made it, y'all can miss me. I smack my girl's ass, tell her pinch me. It's hard to believe I made something from nothing. No hindsight discussions, I've been writing, I love it.
All this doubt around me, then but look, I got it right. Don't you try to hit me, now you live a petty life. All those nights I lay awake, I pray for better life. Now I wake up with a baddie like I said I might. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. This a better life, you never tried, I bet it right. You been stuck just where you at because you never tried. Want a better life, I had a time, I bet it right.
Welcome back to Fibonacci Live here with Lana,
What's
MoodE,
happening?
filling in for the wordsmith. Jay, what's up? Shout out to the brand ambassadors.
Yes.
Shout out to all of the individuals. Shout out to Ruben. Shout out to Z, our camera guys, our programmers. Shout out to Efren. Shout out to Terrence for making it happen. You guys, without this, you guys, we couldn't have it happen. Shout out to Galleria de Arte. Shout out to Aranda. Shout out to Wordsmith. Hey man, come back now. We you know what I'm saying? Wordsmith, Jay over there, he oiled up. Y'all know how Jay get, but nah, shout out to all the individuals that make this go. Shout out to our other cities that we have been contacting and talking to. We're gonna be doing something in Atlanta at a record shop. So that was kind of interesting when somebody contacted us about that. And still shout out to New York. We still waiting on New York to hop on. We coming. Everybody in New York, we got the hot topics. You know, this is not the conscious community, but we're bringing that common sense. We're bringing that reality teachings. I'm here with a dope group, and we about to dive back in with our topic. Today is the boy crisis. The word is manhood. So we're going back and forth between the word and the topic, as y'all noticed. Have y'all noticed that? Did anybody catch that yet? Like, some are defending the word, and then some are defending the topic. So you have a word and you have the topic. They coincide. We're bringing it together. And the last segment that we left off on was myself giving a clear indication on manhood. We were just talking about the sacrificial levels. We were talking about you have to initiate. You have to be initiated, meaning that, for instance, when I was years ago, my daughter lived with me. And she'll tell you, and I've talked to other men about that have daughters, that have sons. And one thing that I try to explain to them about that initiated value and how soon it goes into operation is when you have a son and then you have a daughter. And let's just say they're nice looking kids, 16 years old, one of them's 15 years old, and they both mess up. They both in the car. They did not respond. They didn't call home. It's dangerous now out there. and you pissed off. You mad. You take all their stuff. I mean, for real. You break their spirit. You take the iPad, the iWatch. You know what I'm saying? You take the everything, because there's something that they did that was, that they need to learn a lesson from. Well, when the boy gets to school, if he don't have access to that car, that phone, the Wi-Fi, social media, he might lose his girlfriend. In high school, because we're young and we're primitive, if you don't have those resources, she'll give you 2 months, maybe. But you have to step it up, and you have to have something on an initiated value to sustain your position. The girl, what I realized, she don't have to have nothing.
Nope.
When she get to school, if she cute, if she got charisma, that's the difference right there between an initiated value and a non-initiated value. So I love Warren Farrell because he starts now getting in deep with the book. He's as far as we're gonna finish the man. I'm gonna finish the manhood part. Then I'll get to the Warren Farrell concept on how that was created.
Okay.
The crisis period of boyness. So the manhood aspect, you have to be more than what you like or don't like in our society for manhood. They talked about sexual potency. Well, why would you have sexual potency? Well, you're gonna have sexual potency because you want prowess. Why do you want prowess? Because you want to heir. You want to heir to your throne. The man provides the intelligence through the semen. The man provides the intelligence, and all what we're created comes through our semen. The woman is an egg. So that's a lot of energy that, whether a female or male, we all come out of that potential level of capacity.
Okay.
Also, the umbilical cord comes from the man. It attaches to the woman. So these are strong properties that are held in even a bioanatomy level, that the principles of a man that he holds. So when a man has those type of potentials and powers and energy, that's when, like the audience member asked, oh, well, that's where that sexual potency is going to come from. It's going to come as a desire to reproduce, as a desire to explode this intelligence, as a desire to map and duplicate yourself, to clone yourself.
I think that the boy crisis also has to do with the fact that some people see that as like that natural want and desire to do that. They just take that and they also think that they're doing something, but they're not. But that's just my personal
They're irresponsible.
opinion. Yes. Well, the definition is lost. And that's if we go back to that. But
and that's where we go back to the Warren Farrell part of it. The definition gets lost where, okay, let's go back to the peas and go back to, if the dad told you to eat the peas, you better eat every pea on the plate, or else you're not getting candy. You're not getting it. Well, if there's a divorce that happens, now at a divorce, like we said before, I think it's 6 times the rate that boys will go through a depressionary level. Okay, because now we're talking about no example that he has to reflect himself. Okay, and when he looks in the mirror, what he sees is a failure. He sees a sense of failure because he doesn't see that reflection every day of himself. He doesn't see that imagery. So now he has to re-identify his imagery of himself. He has to recreate it to a degree. So what happens is we're going back to the table where now the money's available. Like Lana, and I love your point, Lana. I always love your points. Like you said, I got options. Yeah. That's reality. Okay, so once them options kicked in, it stirred something up. Okay? Yep. Now, what are the options? The options is society provided things for you. Fine. Society provided things for you. Well, society don't raise men. Men are raised in the home. Unfortunately, when you get all the resources from society, and if you're not thinking in a third world mentality, then you're not going to need the man. Well, you do really need him because you need him because society can't raise your boy. Well, society's already raising your boy if you decide that, hey, the ability for me to get a job is a little better, a little different, the ability to do these things. So now you've done a silent agreement with society.
Yeah.
It's a silent arrangement.
Something I'd like to say that I wrote in my notes here is that, in my opinion, manhood without the essentials stunt emotional growth, sexual discipline and lack of love, but love of masking. Like, that's something that they take on, is a love of masking, as if it is easier because of today's societal and false definition of manhood. I think it's important to understand that.
I agree, because my thing is, at the end of the day, like, I agree with having a man in the household. Like, I don't care how independent I've been in my life. There's still a yearning in me that I want, desire. Just a natural desire of a man taking that lead. What I'm saying is, but I have the option to not choose that man. I feel like in that space, though, I do believe women go extreme, and at this point, you just nitpicking. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the options provided a safe space for women. I believe that some women have taken that safe space and manipulated it in an unrealistic, or created an unrealistic point of view.
What Warren Farrell said about that particular point was that safe space became the detriment.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's really, how he called it, a safe space. Not that you believed it was safe, but it was the detriment for the boy.
Right, well, what I'm saying is, I don't believe that anybody should stay in a relationship. I don't believe a woman should I don't believe any child should be raised in a two-parent household where either parent is toxic. And I believe that because society, and when I say toxic, I mean like physically, like literally
abusive.
Or,
okay.
But hear me out. What I'm saying, I'm speaking as a woman. What I'm saying is, I believe that we're provided options to not live to have to endure.
Can I make a point?
Okay, let her finish her point.
But because in that space, I'm saying some women have taken this and have used it in a way where that was not the original purpose. That's what I'm saying.
What we're saying here today is not some women, it's a crisis. We're saying it's the way of thought now. We're not saying what we're saying is that the way women view, meaning that now the crisis is the lackadaisical choice in men. That's the crisis. The crisis is I mean, let me finish my point. The crisis is, I ain't staying in a relationship with that guy if he's abusive. Well, why'd you pick that abusive guy?
Right.
So now it's like, well, if you pick 4 abusive guys, you get to be like, well, that's why my kids saw 4 different niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because I made the choice to pick. I can't say, well, based on the premises of staying in something that's not unhealthy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying no.
What if you have an example of what manhood is, and you have that in front of your face, and maybe sometimes it's toxic because it might be natural as a man.
What do you mean by an example?
Listen, and they're in the home. That's the example we're talking about. What if you have that and you're still choosing? You're having that's not a lackadaisical choice. At that point, in my opinion,
I'm lost.
You said it's a lackadaisical choice in men because we don't have the correct definition, is what you're saying.
No.
And because of the crisis.
No. I'm just saying the men you choose. You're not choosing men based on definitions. Let's first get that real. Everybody out here dating, kicking it, doing us, and we're not basing this shit off definition.
No, I'm not talking about the actual definition. I'm talking
about the choice.
I'm talking about our theories today. Those are our definitions and our opinions. I don't know how to.
Do you understand what she's saying?
What I'm saying. But this is where, yes, I believe I do. So what you're saying is, but let's say you do have somebody in a 2-parent household. Like, at the end of the day, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. So you may have a father figure, but in reality is shows great examples. He may be a little bit toxic, but I do feel like nowadays people fixate on the petty things, like the small things that don't really matter. And then they use that as an excuse to still be a lackadaisical man or a lackadaisical person in general when it comes to I
just want to be clear to let you know that we don't want to focus on non-men. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if we focus on non-men, this can go 83% of the conversation go awry because that's the issue. We're talking about on the 17% and why women and people can't zone in on that 17%. When it's 83% of something in the room, it's more difficult to zone in on the 72%. If there's 5,000 people in the room. I mean, you understand what I'm trying to get at? Like, I want to funnel more on.
But I believe that women.
Because let's first go over what Warren Farrell said, because as we talk about, the number one point is men aren't in the home. So now the question is, why aren't men in the home?
Right.
That's really the nucleus of it.
Right.
So then I came with, well, a part of what he's saying, the triggering force was economically, once women had gotten, meaning that now women's mentality,
I agree.
not the necessities, but the women's mentality changed.
I agree.
So that means what she's choosing is going to be different.
But,
it's going to be more casual.
Right, but in that, or it made casual, I believe
because it's not for survival no more. Because you always say it's about want.
But in that space, women get burned. Women go through things emotionally, and I feel like there is this space of independence that women have created. And you got this. You could do this on your own. But my thing is, there's no accountability. I feel like as a woman, there is a lack of women accepting accountability for certain things.
That's my point. But there's women that do it. They're watching. They have daughters that watch them do it.
Yes.
They have friends that they don't tell do it.
Yes.
So that becomes another spread.
But then when you talk about it as I'm very big on accountability as a woman, right? And I have female friends that I'm not the female friend you can comment, oh yeah, girl power. No, I'm gonna tell you if you're right or you're wrong. I don't care what your gender is. Right. Because I believe in growth and I hate having the same conversation twice. So because I have conditioned myself to hold myself accountable, I'm all about what I can control. And if I don't feel like I've executed these things perfectly, then that's room for me to grow. That has allowed me to then redefine, or let me not say that.
Because you know you part of the small.
Right. But this is why, as a woman, I'm saying I'm calling it out because I see it in my.
Right. Because you get what
I'm saying.
Yes,
so that allowed me to, I said, redefine the definition of manhood, or change my direction to be able to identify
identify
what
and that's what we're here to do.
Is.
And that's what we're doing.
So in that space, I am willing to be single as a single mother.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's sacrifice. That's patience.
Exactly.
That means as a woman, and part of what you're saying, your womanhood is going to be, well, I'm going to sacrifice not being able to have a dude that I want to have right now and having that run, having that lick.
Yes.
I'm going to sacrifice not taking that lick.
Yes.
I'm going to be a little more patient and just work on me a little, because obviously we all 83% of us are scarred.
I feel like
so
when
that's,
women
you know what I'm saying?
say work on me, it's almost in a cynical way.
It's pseudo.
It's very, well, I don't need anybody. That's not true. I grew up in a household with an extremely strong woman. I only seen women in my household take care, like be the breadwinner. I was brought under that. And even in that space, I could recognize something was not there. And then through trial and tribulation, I had to figure that out in dating, and it led me to some great situations, and it led me to some situations where I'm still figuring it out because of what happened.
Let's stick to the economic part. Like Warren Farrell said in his book, there's 80, like Kevin Simmons said, 80% of the women file for divorce.
Yeah.
Okay, 92% of those women are college graduates and have good jobs. Meaning that it's statistically showing that if you got a bag, it's easy to submit to your job and submit to the principles of a man and manhood. It just, society has made that comfortable, because if you're talking about 92% of the divorces that women have are women that basically have a position saying, I don't need a man, and it's based on the fact that they're economically straight.
And I feel like because of that, I feel like we have unrealistic like I talk to people, well, why did you stop talking to him? And I feel like as women, we find sometimes the pettiest reasons. Like, no, just like for real, like to stop talking to a man or to not engage with a man. But my thing is, like, I'm not perfect. So the way I view it, that I'm in a relationship, and I'm learning to value things I didn't even realize were important before. Right. You get what I'm saying? Yes. And in this space, guess what? I'm not perfect. I too make mistakes, which is a new space for me as a woman in a relationship. Typically, you doing me wrong, which means I've been walking this whole time always being right. So now, if I'm in a situation where, guess what, I'm not always right, that's an ego check. Because now I'm realizing,
that's that reflection.
Oh, you got to put up with me too. Mm-hmm. Oh, it ain't just me putting up with.
Right. Yes.
Oh, so I'm not perfect.
So like to go through the exercise of the P's, I like to call it the P's on the plate. So after the divorce happened, okay, the divorce happened, now the man is not in the home as often anymore. Divorce, they break up, even if they're not married, whatever. But it's a baby daddy situation going on.
Yeah, right.
Okay, once the baby daddy situation goes on, now the child now goes visits the dad. The dad's still saying you better eat your peas when he goes see the dad though. This is where the problem comes. The dad like, oh, you still eating your peas when you're here. Well, fam like, okay, when I'm over there with my mama, I can negotiate. I can. There's leverage power that I have here.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the child now is less likely to get the fundamental skills that he need to go out there and get that job to grow, like we said, the two kids in high school. You won't get those resources. You won't get that job because in the name of this, you still got to have them resources to compete for that woman. So now these kids out here that have not had that discipline, when the daddy go say this and it's a half discipline, he can go back and become undisciplined again. What happens is he's no longer qualified to compete with the field. So now he's getting depressed. He's on drugs. He becomes volatile. He don't leave the mama house.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because now he is not equipped with the discipline because that's what the part of what the man provides.
Or he
that's
finds
his nature.
a woman to take care of him. If it's not his mama, it's
gonna
be this reoccurring.
It's gonna be somebody that act like his mama or holds the position that his mama holds.
Or I feel like a lot of times when the man is not, let's say a couple broke up and they had a child, right? The man's not in the home. They are lackadaisical, I feel like, with certain disciplines.
It's guilt.
Because it's guilt.
Statistically, they said it's guilt.
So then what happens is the mom ends up having to be this authority figure when in reality...
By her choice.
By her choice, but I didn't expect this part, but now you just letting anything slide. So now I gotta be the bad guy, and you turned into the fun uncle. You know what I'm saying? But then I find that sometimes men try to set rules in the woman's household, like when a partnership dissolves, it's like sometimes like men try to still exert some type of authority through the child. Well, your bedtime should be this. You're not in this household to dictate what the bedtime is because you don't know the routine.
Right.
So how you gonna tell her what time she's going to sleep in my house? Yep. You don't run this house. Right. That's not your place, but in your mind, that's the place of a why. You know, then it becomes this ever-ending. Now, as a mother, you got to question your choices, and then and it's just so then the child's just in the middle doing whatever the child wants to do.
And part of the crisis is that because he has to compete. He has to have the things. The girls are still going to get along and go along. Okay, you guys are still going to keep pushing. You're going to make it work. You're going to pump through it. But there will be a stagnicity that boy will have, that he has not gone through the initiated disciplines and sacrifices that were necessary. Now, we're not back in the tribal day or nothing where he got to go wrestle a bull but we're just symbolic. We're saying that the mom took away those disciplines or the dad took away those disciplines by not being there for the son.
Because for the first time I have somebody around my children, and I've noticed the difference in my parenting.
Their behavior.
In my parenting.
Right.
Just by his presence.
Right.
Okay?
Right, just presence alone.
Presence alone, because so I would have let something slide.
Absolutely.
He won't. You're not being invasive. You go.
Because he's not worn down.
No, and he goes, well, why? And then I go, oh yeah, you is right. Why? Why are we? And I've noticed that even now I go, well, what do you think? Now I value your opinion because I've acknowledged, wait, you see this a little different, and on top of that, if I follow what you say, you give me the results I've been trying to get. But
here's the thing: if we're going to stay modern, and we're going to go into the next segment, and get Jay's feedback. But if we're going to stay modern, think of men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Think of men are waffles, women are spaghetti. Meaning that everybody got a role to play. And I think that once the women start becoming dismissive of what that man's role is and saying, well, I can learn to do yours. You can't learn to do mine. And I think there's a misconception that women now feel like, you know what, I can learn to do that role. Here's the reality. The truth is, my grandmother raised me. okay? But this is what happened. My grandmother showed love. She first demonstrated love to me, okay? She also understood the value of a man. So by that love, she made sure that I was around the presence of a man. She had the scope, whether it was her sons, whether it was, you know, my cousins, the wherewithal that she had is that they got things I don't have, period. I'm raising him, he gonna do the things that but the reality that she had enough wisdom to know that I will put him in a position to succeed and get his complete training.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the training. Okay, your uncle gonna do something to you that I probably wouldn't do to you, but he gonna do it because it's necessary. So I wouldn't whoop you, but he gonna beat you down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's going down. I prefer not to, but I have to do what I have to do to put you in a position to succeed. So that whole understanding of the initiated value on what a man has to have and the resources. So what happens is when we're out there, these boys are getting depressed. There's a thing called a quarter life crisis. Back in my day, there's no such thing as a quarter life crisis. They had a midlife crisis. That was like the big thing in society. Woo, you're gonna hit the wall midlife. Oh, it's so bad now that there's a thing called a quarter life crisis. A quarter life crisis is, I'm not getting the things that I want out this world that my mama told me. That's really what the quarter life crisis is.
At the time,
yeah, my mama told me I'm the prettiest, I'm the cutest, what I deserve, everything. Go to school and fight for me even when I'm wrong. That's fine. Now the crisis is reality has come and challenged you, and now you don't have enough disciplines. But we're going to roll this over to Jay and go into this final segment. And Jay, wrap it up, man. What you talk to us? What was it? Any feedback from our?
Yeah, Denzel Thomas. Shout out Denzel Thomas.
Denzel been on point today. He been on point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're watching this, maybe you grew up without a father. I think you've been given a tremendous gift and opportunity, because now after listening to all these viewpoints, you are made aware, self-aware of your current position and maybe how you've gotten to where you are. So I think the worst thing possible for you to do if you've grown up without a father is feel self-pity for yourself. And I think that, growing up, I grew up without a dad.
That's deep.
My parents have been divorced. I saw my dad maybe once every 2 weeks. For a few points in my life, I didn't see him for many years. So one thing that I did was every time I got to see my dad, instead of looking at him for what I should become, I looked at him for what I shouldn't become.
Yep.
And so I realized, okay, well, if I just do the opposite of what you do, I'll probably turn out better. That hasn't steered me too wrong. Another thing that I would do is, okay, now I'm always searching for someone to look up to. So I've had many mentors throughout the years that I found myself. I didn't ask my mom to connect me with those people. Or even simple things like watching a movie. Cool, let's watch a superhero movie. How can I apply that knowledge that I just gained, that story, that inspiration, how can I put that into myself? So I think if you do that, if you follow those keys, I wouldn't say become your own father, but become your own man, that's what this is all about, right?
And have accountability. You just took accountability of your situation. And that's huge, because a lot of people they don't want to accept accountability. They don't want to accept the flaws. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're going to go into the next segment, but I got to ask you this question, Jay, before I go into this. Before we close, we're going to go into the next segment. Did your mother talk negatively about your father?
Yes.
We're going to get back to that.
Please do, because I got.
That's the.
desaparecer. Aunque no es conmigo, ¿dónde estás? Sé que estás bien. Yo no te quiero perder, aunque sepa que lo nuestro no va a volver. No queda nada que hacer, entre tú y yo todo va a desaparecer. Pareciera mentira que estuviste en mi vida, que antes de un segundo yo creí que tú eras mía. Yo creí que tú eras mía. Perdón por tenerte presente, perdón por pensarte siempre, pero te quedaste en mi mente. No duró nada y pensé que serías mía. Pensé que tú serías mía. Yo creí que tú eras mía.
I feel you watching me pull up across the room. I think you like the view. You gonna make a move. I don't make this easy for you. It's not intentional. I'm not responsible. I never played a game. But if it's in my face, I don't make it easy for you. Everyone is an option. I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't fuck with me. I don't make this easy for you. I don't make this easy for you. And now's the time between you and I. Get out of your head, step into my mind. Be that easy for you. I could be that easy for you. Baby, I like to learn. How do you wanna feel? Tell me your fantasies as you discover me. Can I make this easy for you? I wanna make it easy for you. And it's not intentional. I'm not responsible. I never play the games. But if you're in my way, I don't make this easy for you. I won't be that easy for you. Everyone is an option. I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't fuck with me.
You're here with Fibonacci Live, and it's cracking. It's a smoking topic.
It is.
We're here with Lana and MoodE, filling in for the wordsmith is Jay, Gatsby. We have a hot topic. It was really heated. It was discussing the word manhood as well as the topic of the boy crisis. We were connecting. We were just kind of finishing that connection with the boy crisis. Well, what was the trigger? You know, we were just talking about the triggers. When those triggers happen, the reason why this is a crisis, and we were just talking to the studio, to the audience, the part of why it's a crisis is because there's a trigger among a trigger among a trigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So once this is triggered, then the choices we make are triggered. Then the next choice we make are triggered. So like they were saying, okay, and it's not a topic based on dating and who women are choosing in dating, but it does have a connection. So like when you were talking about that pyramid, okay, well, when you're picking from that pool, you're only picking from the reflection of yourself.
I agree. I absolutely
we talked about that the last week. You know what I mean? So that's
agree.
kind of like a trick bag. It's like, okay, well, now how and I love how you explain your story. You like, so I put myself through whatever I had to put myself through, learned, endured, recognized, and attracted what I need. But I couldn't even understand. You said I couldn't even understand that this is something that was not only a want but a need.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're used to getting with the want part, and now you realize, okay, this person I got this plus, I got fries with it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm feeding the need, so now this want is it's like a candy store. The want is like a kid in a candy shop. I could pick what what?
Yeah.
I'm getting everything, and now I got cavities. Now I'm like, oh wait, but I do gotta go to the dentist. Right. I gotta brush my teeth still. Oh, okay.
So part of that trigger is the fact that now the men feel when society starts recognizing, because you got to keep in mind the woman because we brought this up. You know me, I'm gonna if it come up, it's part of it's part of the case. You know what I'm saying? If you bring it up in trial, it's part of the case, and part of that is once you start venturing into opening up Pandora's box based on the choices that you're making, based on your own recognizing your own trauma, kind of misidentifying really what you are and what you've been through, because what you're doing now is you're locating your history. You're locating. It's like therapy. It's like talking to a psychologist. It's like now you're really locating what you're missing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part where it becomes uncomfortable, because the women, y'all want the winners. Y'all want the quarterback. Y'all want the dude with the job. Y'all want, so the men are listening to this. Now you got a dude that his mama did not equip him to be able to go out there and be the guy that's the 17% or 20% of the population that everyone wants. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a K. Everybody want that guy when you're coming up. You had to come to a point in your life when you realize the differential values and that and that. But
I forget this,
but the men are checking out what you went for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've assessed you, we've analyzed you, and you're like, okay, I won't be guy, I won't be dude. Okay, so now that I won't be dude, now my spirit is a little broken.
Right.
Okay, so now hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about hurt people hurting people. You're talking about the mother not holding the son accountable and responsible. So now you have a spoiled.
But I want to also interject and say, but that's not just in a single parent household, because I've dated someone who had both parents in the household. Like, when I didn't grow up with a dad in my house. Like, I had my dad around, right? I had my brother around, but like he wasn't in the house, which makes a difference. And I grew up, my grandma raised me, so she was in a very toxic relationship, and then she got saved. So mind you, she was like the opposite, like this was
extreme.
Right. So for me, I just believed, and I count this to being naive, that, if I date a guy that has a two-parent household, there's going to be this balance that I thought that, I knew that I was missing, but believed could be fixed by dating somebody that has a two-parent household. And what I realized is, in this two-parent household, I would have rather taken my grandmother's route, because what I've learned, what really was going on in this two-parent household, because then what he was trying to make me was his mother, and I would never, I mean, I knew I had an option to not be this person, and to not carry this hurt, and to not go through the things that this woman endured just to say that I'm married, and just to say that I have a husband. But mind you, I don't know that, so I just assumed, well, if you got two parents are better than one. And then I realized, like, well, that doesn't always have to be the case either, because I have.
Well, first of all, again, let's connect that to the frequency of love. Okay. Love is the number one component that we talked about manhood. The audience member asked us, well, did you finish up the definition? Love. Yeah. Men love.
Yeah, they do.
Men love. That means men have to have enough confidence, have enough self-love to be able to love. So that's a component that women aren't looking for a man that knows how to love. A lot of women can't identify love.
Well, can I interject here?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's interesting the way that men will identify their love, and me as a woman, I do not understand. I do not compute with that kind of love, even though it might be love.
Is it love?
Yes. In some cases, it is. In some cases, even though a man can't identify with his emotions or express them properly or in a very communicative way, that he might be affected in that way, but he'll still do everything to make sure I'm good, and that's...
See, romanticism ain't love.
Well, I'm talking about love, and I'm saying that his love for himself and the discipline to not have to go through what he's going through or whatever, and still... even have those deficiencies. Yeah. Everyone has a deficiency. That might be one of them, as a guy who encapsulates what the definition of manhood is and loves, but it may not be.
So
because it's not going to be.
And I agree. What I've grown to appreciate in a relationship with a man is him being willing to explore his vulnerability when we reach a crossroad. So, like, if I get into it,
break that down. This for the people.
Okay.
Break down.
I feel like
vulnerability.
I feel like I've been in relationships where I really genuinely believe that this person does love me. Like, in that moment, and maybe, just whatever.
Absolutely.
I believe that. But when we would come to a crossroads where we disagree, how are you able to direct me or lead me in this disagreement? Because my point is not invalid, and I'm not invalidating your point either, but how are you going to take charge of the situation? And you cannot take charge by dismissing me as a whole and respect. When I'm saying, hold 1 second. Yeah, so when I'm saying, and for me, I've learned to add this in my list of manhood, is when we reach that crossroad and we're at opposing sides, are you willing to explore your vulnerability with me to let me know that you were wrong, to talk to me about this situation?
You're saying to love.
I'm saying this as love, because you're putting your ego aside to work with me to then find a common ground for you to lead again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We definitely are closing this segment out with the clear interpretation, and that's what love is.
Yeah.
Can I just say my little?
Sure.
I've had these notes the whole time. I just want to get them out because y'all have a whole conversation over there, and I'm just listening. So let me just get my little points out. Hi, my name's MoodE. So manhood to me as a woman, mind you, again, for the people who may not know me or have watched, I'm again a traditional kind of woman living in a very new age world that I'm forced to live in and operate and survive in, but that's not how I internally operate. I just want to say that. Okay, anyway. So manhood to me as a woman is comprised of 6 different points that I made up. One of them is sacrifice. We talked about the sacrifice that a man has, and that I think equates to manhood, because you're able to define what you want and what you need. That's a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice the things you want for what you need. Protection. I, as a woman, feel comfortable and safe in my role as a woman, which I'll get to later in my notes here. But I attribute protection to manhood because I believe that that's your role for me. 3 is direction and dominance. That kind of, those two things coincide with each other. I think dominance and direction. I'm not going to be bossing you around because we may get things done, but it's not going to be as compartmentalized, as fast, or as simple as I think maybe some men would, or how they operate in my own experience. In direction, I need to have a leader. I think I'm naturally a leader, but in my relationships, I take on a very, nurturing, feminine role. So that's just, again, it's all mine. 4 is a provider, someone who provides, because I think it's important in today's society to provide for each other just because of how things are set up. But traditionally, man providing and being not the base of the household, but he's the concrete that holds it together. But the woman is the base, or maybe it's.
I think the word that you kind of I'm not sure, but I think part of what I would include on your list with your list is I would include responsibility.
Well, I'm getting to that, so that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just like, well, I guess you could say responsibility and providing coincide, but my next one actually is acknowledgement in nature and discipline. And I think that comes with taking yourself accountable, holding yourself accountable, and having responsibility. I think that when you have acknowledgement and you're aware, you can be responsible. You can take on that responsibility. And then also 6 is a point that we were talking about too.
Well, see, these are characteristics and traits of a man, and then you have initiated things of manhood. We're talking about traits of a man, because you have a male, you have a man. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know. No.
Well, manhood is an initiated thing. Those are things that once you are initiated, you're not all of those, but it seems like on her list, once you're initiated, you're able to implement them things. Once you're initiated and you understand these values as a person, you're able to do this and you're able to do that. You have the wherewithal. You have the ability. You know what I mean? You have the point of our thing is that a man has to get his stamina up. You know what I'm saying? He has to get to be initiated for manhood. He got to get his stamina up in order to provide those things that you're talking about.
I think what I'm saying though is that these are things that are comprised of manhood.
Yeah.
Like in order to be initiated, you have to sacrifice. You have to provide, you have to protect, you have to, I guess that's what.
So you're saying you have to hit all of these requirements before you can.
That's the initiation. We're talking about the same thing. Is what I'm saying. That's what the last note here is manhood can be identified by alpha and beta attributes, which is kind of what you were saying, like having take on that role. That's by being an alpha male. Why I said no when you were saying that is because not all men are like that.
What did I say?
You said, well, all men, they have to take on this role and be initiated, and that's what manhood is, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Where did alpha come from?
I don't know. I'm just reading my notes.
But alpha is a different.
I equate alpha with a toxic masculinity. When I think of, I do.
That's I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't, but.
Yeah, alpha is a position. Now, what you do with that position is something different.
The alphas I've encountered is
right.
extremely.
Yeah,
emotional.
Alpha that's not a man can be a problem.
Yeah, and that's,
you know what I'm saying?
So
now you're talking about more of a destructive personality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now
I feel like what I'm trying to focus on is more of like the non-destructive part.
Right. Yeah, of course.
But I just want to streamline. The only reason why I'm being very particular in my points here is because I'm streamlining it to a one particular point, and that's like the definition. In my perspective, I mean, I'm not a man, and I also didn't read the book. Have you read the book?
No.
But you are streamlining it in a manner that you're pretty finite.
Yeah.
Well, and that's because of my experience and my example. And even my example, just because I had that example, doesn't always mean, like how I
Of
said
course.
earlier, make me make the best decision.
'Cause
And
you
I think
said
that's what I had pointed out
there's
earlier.
there's alpha and betas, and there's other males, but I agree because there are those different type of women. You have an alpha female, you have a beta female.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna you need
gonna
a
have both,
match.
and
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna have- it's gonna
need
match
that.
up.
So I agree wholeheartedly. A beta male can still
Be a good
be a
man.
man and lead a
Absolutely.
family.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not
so-
saying that. That's what I'm not saying. I'm not to like. just,
Right, no,
you
we're
know.
agreeing. I'm agreeing with
Right.
you. No, I'm
Right.
agreeing with you.
But man, it's a dope,
yeah, that's all.
dope show. You guys check out the book, The Boy Crisis. They have good statistics. It breaks down a lot for young men that are out there
Yes, it does.
that are looking for fatherhood or looking for a direction of understanding what they're.
I feel like
what
women
their
should read it,
manhood-
too.
Oh yeah, I
Everyone
do
should
agree.
read
I
it.
think everybody needs to check that book out.
Yeah.
Check him out. Thank you, Jay, for coming in and filling in for Wordsmith, man. You laid it down. We really
Yes.
appreciate that. Thank you to the staff. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for our studio audience. Thank you, Tiffany, for coming in here. We really appreciate everyone, and it's on fire. We will be releasing the last week's show.
Okay.
We'll be releasing that show tonight. That show was on the topic of love, and we have some fire topics. You guys go to Fibonacci Radio and
Yep.
check out our episodes. We will also be going back to 106.3 Soul, 106.3 FM Chicago. We're excited to go back there and get on that platform and bring these topics and continue to grow. We expect for that transition to happen soon. And man, your mind can only go where it's been. And we out of here. This Fibonacci Live.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.